Content warning. The following episode includes scenes that involve themes of pediatric and adolescent dismemberment. Please be advised. Hello and welcome back to CrestVahllen. I'm your not-so-humble Dungeon Master TJ, and this will be the Argent Flame, Episode 4, Until Whole Again. Now, without further ado, let's get right into the recap. Pondering on what to do next, the party sends a message to Eleazar, hearing only sickly coughs in response, Argus getting the sense that they are acted falsehoods. With spellcraft, the group douses the location of Eleazar's armor to be somewhere in the prisons under Cairn Tower. Sofka transforms into a rat and scouts about the cells, discovering the silver dragonborn's armor with a note pinned to it. Returning to the rest of the party with the note, apparently intended for Security 4, the gang decipher that Eleazar was here, but was then spirited away by the host himself. With little options, the Argent Flame traverse the tunnels to emerge near Flixen's Discount Fixins, and proceed to break and enter. Knowing the shop is now newly proprietorless, the party shamelessly loot the storefront and attempt to break into the office. The lock is more difficult than anticipated, and Log eventually summons his newly acquired unseen servant on the other side of the door and within the office. Now, let's get right back into it.
That's why she said.
And welcome back to CrestVahllen D&D The Argent Flame. We're gonna run back into it. Last we left off, you were summoning your unseen servant on the other side of the door in the Flixen's Discount Fixins log. So, tell me, what does he do? Or they do?
They opened the door for us.
Okay. So you can't just open the lock.
Well, I mean, they undo the lock and...
Sure.
open.
Okay, seeing as Zemdak did try to unlock this door via his thieves' tools, and his thieves' tools are essentially now jammed in the lock. Your unseen servant goes to unlock the door, and it is jammed. Unable to lock from that side because the mechanism is being stopped by the lock-picking tools. But I don't think you're aware. Your unseen servant, I think, just keeps trying and doesn't stop trying.
Well, I could just tell him to stop trying.
Right, but you wouldn't know because it's on the other side of the wall.
Hear the lock clicking.
Well,
You
yeah.
can hear the lock. Yeah, so you guys will be like, oh, okay, it's going to open, it's going to open, it's going to open. And after a while, you just keep seeing the lock being jimmied and jimmied and nothing happens.
We'd see the lockpicks moving.
Oh, yeah, so someone would figure out the lock.
I'm saying you see and you hear it moving, but after like waiting for a minute, still nothing happens. It just keeps getting jimmied and jimmied and jimmied, but nothing happens.
Zemdak, do you want to pull out the asshole?
Why?
I would rather not.
I would rather you not too, but
Can you get the tools out of the lock?
I don't even think he can pick this lock.
But can you just pull the tools out so they're not blocking it?
No. Though they are jammed in there. Pulling them out would break them and leave pieces in there.
So you need to unlock this lock for us to get your lockpicks back?
Let me change the music.
Yes. So I might as well try again.
I'll cast guidance. I don't want to use enhance ability or anything. I don't have any spells.
Go ahead. Try again. Good idea.
Almost.
31.
31.
There we go.
The DC was 30. You guys have been beating my DCs exactly or by one this entire session.
No, not all of them.
You didn't let guidance happen.
It's been very poetic this session, for sure.
I'm okay with this considering the number of sessions where we have failed horribly on the DC multiple times and almost died.
So, you guys,
Some of us have
no
done.
Zemdak takes a moment, and the unseen servant doesn't stop, so it just keeps jiggling, and Zemdak's like, stop. But fortunately, the unseen servant is vibrating the lock and the doorknob enough to the point where the tumblers kind of fall into place as he's trying to turn his lockpick, so it kind of helps him. Finally turns the lockpick, it opens, and the door opens, and the knob just keeps going as the unseen servant just walks through.
You can stop now. You can stop.
It stops. The door is then open.
Let's go overlooking Zemdak.
you head
Yeah.
into the office. Log, this place looks familiar.
Looks familiar
You've
to
been
me
in
too.
here before, from your last escapades.
I saw it
there's-
there.
Yeah.
That's true.
He was peeping.
Log, where do you think she would keep her money?
Under the
Or
mattress.
technically our money.
Yeah, he's either under the bed or in the desk.
So there's a desk on the far side of the room to the left that did have a bunch of papers and ledgers on it that you had grabbed. Has since been cleaned pristinely and put away and locked into there. Apparently, she noticed that things were stolen and took better measures to make sure that her stuff was away from prying eyes. You also notice that there is a bed in case she needs to sleep here. Everybody roll an investigation check. There are also several bookcases in which ledgers are kept. Zemdak, what'd you get?
22.
22. Safka.
4.
Dirty 20.
Safka's just like, wow. There's still reeling from the ritual of the unseen servant. Go ahead.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
5.
This is like, this has been too much of a wild ride from start to finish. You still have that smile on your face. You're like, you see a mirror in the far room and you're practicing your smile. Like, is it me? Like trying to figure out.
I'm also way enraptured in this armor I just stole.
Yeah, right, that's true. So the armor is like a little bit reflective. So you're looking at it and you're like looking at yourself and you're like smiling. You're like, is it me? Am I unapproachable?
That's what I'm actually going to look at and go, which hand were you using to wave?
Right, because dwarves wipe their ass with one hand.
No, my hand has no fingers.
Right.
It's all scarred up and
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
22, so same
Machete.
as Boots.
Right. As Boots.
16.
16. Okay, so Boots and Trisheni get on it real quick and realize that there is a floor safe under the bed. Cole, you notice something a little different. You notice that one of the bookcases is not entirely flush with the wall on the far side of the wall, on the opposite side of the desk. Meaning that it's the farthest away from the desk.
There's something odd with that bookcase.
Well, there's definitely something under the bed, and it's not like a spooky monster, you know?
that we know of.
That's true. That's true. Who knows? Could be another mimic. Okay, I want to do the bookcase first. See what's up.
let's check out the bookcase.
All right.
I tell the servant to just start pulling books off.
You guys just see books just start flying off the.
Log, are you helping?
Is the bookcase a mimic?
No, Yorick is helping.
Yorick.
Yorick.
Alas, for Yorick.
Isn't that what you named the skull?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but I figure the servants, got something to do with them.
Are all your servants named Yorick?
Well, I've only had this one so far.
Well, what about your skull guy?
Well, no, yeah, he's Yorick too.
Okay. Wait,
Then
okay.
who's York 1?
Who does Yorick 2 work for?
Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't even know how to respond to that.
Wait. Log, did you just name your imaginary friend Yurik and you're just calling everything Yurik?
How dare you call him imaginary? And I take out Yorick and stroke his skull.
One day I'm literally going to cast Speak with Dead and just, like...
Is this cool?
I think that'd be kind of awesome.
You're in skull, right? Yeah, okay, cool.
I mean, he doesn't have a choice in the matter.
I mean, if he's gilded, if the skull is now gilded, is he going to be able to respond?
Yeah, it's more. It just has carvings that are filled with gold, and it doesn't prevent it from actually moving about.
I mean, now he's fancy. He should be happy.
Right.
So the books start flying off the bookcases. Off that bookcase, you guys find the floor safe.
What are a couple of the titles of the books that are off the bookshelf?
Yes.
Sure, here we go. For sure, there's a copy of the Hot Hot Forge.
I was going to ask.
Such a great book.
Could use
There's
more
also
fire.
a book about a debutante of some renown that is some noble that falls in love with the stable hand, but the stable hand has a bit of a tryst with her, but then he realized that he's actually not in love with her, but he's actually in love with a horse, and it's like experiment and bestiality and a bunch of other weird things going on.
Hey, Sofka.
Sofka like spits it out of your hand. I would never.
In the book, is the
I would
stable
never.
hand ugly
She
or
said it looked-
good looking?
Everybody in fucking romantic novels is hot as fuck. That's just part of it.
No, but I look like Kaisha's at the time.
Even the
That's right, you
horse
did.
is described with turgid, excruciating
These teachers were
description.
You use turgid a lot.
I haven't used the word turgid in months.
You
Don't
did.
even.
No.
And we haven't played in like a month.
Multiple months.
You did describe a tower one time as turgid.
Okay. Moving on.
Just saying.
The other titles of the books include Finding Your Way When There Is No Way, survival mechanics for the unexperienced.
Let me check that out.
There is a copy of some of Drugan Knockback's work here. A couple of things that have been, or at least feature Drugan Knockback, like the Trials and Tribulations of Drugan Knockback. A couple of things. It's pretty standard reading for at least the dwarven culture because he's such a folk hero. There are a couple other titles here that talk about amateur map making and cartography. One of them is called Amateur Map Mapping and Everything That Comes Between the Scales. Meaning, and it has like a little scale there of like 1 mile to you've done it, and it has a little thumbs up there.
I'll take this. It seems reductive, but at least, we can learn a little magic along the way.
There's also studies on the manipulation of space and time by
My ears immediately perk up.
studies on the manipulation of space and time by a prisoner that I found held within the dungeons.
What?
It
That's in the
spells
title.
all of this out. Studies in the manipulation of space and time that I found in a prisoner that I found within the dungeons of the sanatorium.
I yoink that hard and fast.
Okay, cool. You quickly realize by reading the back cover that this is about the sanatorium that is far west of here, more in the protectorate of in the greater protectorate of Hilnsvarn.
Okay.
There is a well-renowned sanatorium there that is meant to house and heal, air quotes, those that have lost their mind. Think of it. It's kind of an analogy of In Cold Blood by Capote. I don't know if you've ever read it. It's pretty much some novelist, or not necessarily novelist, but writer, visited this crazy person in jail or in their asylum for years and years and years and years, saying, "Yeah, no, I'll get you out. I'll get you out. Tell me your story. Tell me your story." And then wrote a biography, kind of with embellished spots, of said person. But when it came to actually get them out, when it came to their sentence of execution or electrotherapy or whatever it happened to be, they just kind of ghosted. Granted, a lot of the excerpts that they recollect, and as you absolutely flipping through this for sure, are of, oh yeah, last night I was no longer here. I was in the astral sea and I floated with. I hooked my as I danced upon the ramparts, I hooked my reins upon an astral dreadnought and flew through the skies like no other creature could. And it's just, you can't tell if this person is crazy, actually transports among different planes, or is just making this shit up and faking it. It is so wild. And they also speak about how they have been to other planes multiple times, and then they have lost the thing. I can't get the thing that makes the noise to take me to the place. It makes a
tuning
I I can't forget the thing, and that constantly is mentioned. But those are the most notable books that you find about him.
You did say there's another book besides the Trials and Tribulations of Drugan Knockback.
There is. There's another book about him. It's a secondhand book, more of an anthology of, like, think about like the Mother Goose rhymes.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that for folktales, but for Drugan Knockback. So it's far more embellished and for a little bit a younger crowd, being like, Knockback goes heal, and it's just like that, Knockback says healing word, PK healing, that kind of thing. So it's more like that. Think of like the Grimm fairy tales, but like Mother Goose poems, and it's pretty much about Drugan Knockback and his things. There's not a whole lot of lore here other than for kids, but you can grab it if you want to.
You know what? Considering me personally, I am a fan of Harry Potter and Beetle of Bard. I'm going to pick that up just in case.
Harry Potter.
You never know. There's a little truth
Exactly.
in everything.
You
Great.
never know what you're going to find in a book.
Go ahead and roll me a luck check, Log.
We're going to find another dead body.
16.
16. Eventually, your unseen servant gets to about half the books on the shelf before it pulls one that you just... And it appears to be like attached to the bookshelf.
I can lift 30 pounds, so is he able to actually like...
I mean, you want to try to pry the book off? The book appears to be attached by some mechanism to
Well, I
the
assume
bookshelf.
it's a lever of some sort to open a secret passage.
Yeah, I mean, it's pulled, and you hear a...
That's basically what I sent him to go do the books for.
Right. So you do. He pulls the book. He pulls the book. It pulls out as far as it can, unless you want to try to bend some metal.
Yeah, as far as it...
And you hear like something has been unlocked, or like some sort of latch has been opened.
But that's all that happens?
That's all that happens. But remember, Cole, you noticed that it wasn't flush with the wall.
Right. With my high passive perception, did I hear that lock sound?
For sure.
I think you found the book, Log. Or your servant did.
That's what he's here for.
We'll come over and try and pull the thing back.
With very little effort, the bookcase just glides to the right. Glides to the left. Crisscross. Everybody clap your hands. No, I'm sorry. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. the bookcase glides to the left.
Song that never ends.
People laugh at your jokes. They don't laugh at mine. Okay, yes. So the bookcase glides to the left as now the latch and the bolt that was keeping it in place moves, revealing a couple of the stones that make this cobblestone wall have been pulled out. That you didn't feel a draft going further down into darkness.
So it goes
Probably
down.
her way into...
Kind of like in a diagonal fashion, more of like a 20% grade rather than anything else.
That's a hell of a grade.
20% as to 180%, so about this.
I know.
Not a
still,
45% grade.
Right,
so.
it's still 20%. It's
Yeah,
still
20%
pretty.
is still pretty steep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steeper for like cars than it is people, but yes. Yeah.
Fair.
It's just like hiking down a slope.
Boots, let's get this safe open. Guidance.
I wanted to start with the
God,
desk.
it's smack him upside the head.
I wanted to start with the desk.
Okay,
I thought that may be a little bit easier.
probably.
Okay, go ahead and roll your tinkering or your thieves tool check on the desk.
19.
19. You do open the main drawer of the desk. As you unlock it, it opens up and you see a collection of maps and ledgers here.
Then
I will take the maps.
Okay. Most of these appear to be half-finished maps of... Sofka, you recognize these appear to be half-finished maps of the immensely sprawling and nearly endless tunnels of caverns, whether they be worked or natural, beneath Karadim. They were doing their best to make maps so that they wouldn't get lost, and there's so many. You, looking at this, realize that your natural affinity and your experience with set maps, you know more than what these maps are detailing.
I think I think I know more than this. I mean...
That's impressive. Cool.
You said the main drawer. Are there other drawers?
There are, but they're not locked. It looks like they just have extra blank paper and ink and other types of stuff.
Good paper?
It could. It's not as high quality as for spell making, but it. Here's the deal. How paper works is that you can lose for spell making is that you can use lower quality paper. It just causes you to use a lot more of it, like exponentially. Like you have to use 10 times as much standard issue, like regular parchment, than you would have to do, like, a nice vellum. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Just because of the way of arcane inscribing, it doesn't catch to just regular shitty paper as much as it does fine paper. But yes.
Take some of that paper.
Sure, you can take. How much paper would you like to take? I mean, there's a couple reams of paper here, like a good, anywhere between like 15 and 20 pounds of paper.
Probably just like maybe a pound of paper.
Okay.
Just make sure
It's a large drawer, and paper's heavy, so
Yeah.
it's just standard paper, just meant for ledger work, nothing else really.
I'll take a piece of paper and go, look, magic trick.
Oh my god!
You made it disappear.
You feel your arm like the book's trying to get out. Like, that was my food.
Oh yeah. Do you need some of this log?
I mean, I'll take a stack.
Is this? Can I tell if this hole behind the bookcase is in the north wall or what wall it's on?
This is on the east wall, because imagine that Dixon's Flix's discount fixins is like facing the inner wall, right? Or I'm sorry, not facing the back is to the inner wall from the Demir district to the Wodak district. So
Right.
if you go into it, technically the back of it is the north side and the front of it is the south side. So you go to the south to the north side, and like to the west side is the desk and the office, and to the east side is that, pardon me, the bookcase that you move that has the hole. So granted, you'd have to actually delve down the hole to find out exactly where it leads, but
I was having ideas about doing something depending on where it was on the wall.
granted, it could go anywhere. It could turn immediately once you go down there. You don't know.
Right.
Also take a ream of that paper. I need stuff to write my inventions on and things like that.
For sure,
so
yeah.
I'll take,
I mean,
like,
it's heavy, but I'm
towels.
sure you guys, with bags of holding and all, not have plenty of time
Yep.
to do so.
And then I will wander over to the floor safe
Okay. Go ahead. I attempt your
with a big old sigh.
Come on,
I'm gonna
Zemdak, you
pull-
can unlock it. I know
I'm
you
gonna pull
can.
nitpick out.
I was trying to give you inspiration.
You pull Nitpick out, and he says,
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, these bunch of fucking losers and screw-ups, you had such a great chance to get some great, really good information, but instead, you blew it up like a bunch of losers.
Yes, we did. Can you please open this safe?
Can you please open my ass?
and he bends over and moons you.
Crowbar.
Laughing with a crowbar? Hell yeah! Roll an attack, fucking.
I was gonna wait till I got it open.
If you do enough damage, you're gonna shatter him.
I mean, what's that? 6? What would that be? An unarmed strike would be plus my strength.
Yeah.
So like
you're not
8.
proficient, so 8. So he actually, as he bends down to moon you, he just dodges the crowbar that swings over his head. Didn't even know you did it. And he's like,
I guess I'll get back to work better than any of you could do.
Yeah,
Yep.
Waiting for you to fail.
Fuck, where did that song come from?
as he starts to lockpick the safe. Roll here for him.
roll great. Would you stop with the fucking song? You're keeping me distracted.
You had one job.
Not several
you're gonna
jobs.
complain
You
about
failed
this.
nearly all of them.
Yeah, you have one job and you failed it.
It's not my fault you fuckers keep putting a song into my head. I'm gonna try one more time. Well, that's my job. I'm done. See you later. And he just jumps into the bag of holding. You guys look at the safe. The lock is jammed. It is broken. The only way to open this now is via brute force.
Yeah.
Who's got the crowbar?
But fucking.
Alright, who's
He
got
rolled
the crowbar?
super terribly.
Well, I mean, we're gonna have to give him shit next time he comes back
I
out.
feel like he may need to be burned.
I'll be honest, I was waiting until he got it open and we emptied it out and then I was going to kick him in and slam the safe shut.
I heard that.
I hope so.
All right. So what are we doing? Crowbar advantage.
Might as well.
Yep.
I'm burning through spells, but I could potentially heat it up. I don't know if that would make it easier to open.
That might melt everything inside of it, too.
Well, you know that you do have a tool that is entirely resistant to heat among you. Argus.
I'm resistant to heat.
No, your Soul
Your
Forge hammer
Oh.
is cool to the touch no matter how much heat is exposed to it.
So I could
No,
hammer
but
it
they mean
with-
like if I heat up the door,
yeah.
Right.
everything
That's
inside.
what I'm
And then
saying,
if I
but like
hammer
even
it
if
with
you
my-
heat
yeah.
up the safe and you put your crowbar against it, I mean heat transfers.
Yeah.
So
Or if I
mean,
use my hammer, yeah.
right, if you use your hammer to try to like
Yeah, but we
bang it
might
open,
melt
I'm more bringing up the fact that precious metals generally melt at pretty good temperatures.
right. So if there is gold in this, if you heat it up, there's a chance you could just meld it to the side of the wall of the safe. You have some options here, though. What are you guys gonna do?
Or do we just try and steal the floor safe and take it with us and try and break into it later?
You want to pry the whole safe out of the floor?
We've
How
done
big is it?
To be fair, we've
it's
done
about-
stupider things.
It is about a foot by a foot. It's about a cubic foot. Yeah,
So it'd fit in the bag.
it would fit in the bag. Yeah, it's heavy though.
Why don't we just try to open it? Brute force over it.
I mean, we'd have to anyway. Do you want to try prying that thing open, and then we can try other things if we can't get it open?
Sure.
All right. Who is prying it open? You're
So-
stronger than me,
Oh, so it's the same modifier though.
right? Do you want me to do
It's
it?
still fun though.
Well, I mean,
We have a back door out of here now,
Right.
Potentially.
so Conk doesn't necessarily need to stay invisible.
That
He
is
can
true.
definitely help one of you guys.
But
if we're doing
so
the
would a
crowbar,
crowbar.
I mean,
yeah, so we still get advantage either way.
That's true.
What
if we did two crowbars?
Who's been rolling better?
I've been.
I
rolling
swear to God, if you throw that true, no, you get one advantage. There's no such thing as double.
No, I just mean like,
advantage.
would it lower?
if
the
two
DC?
people were using crowbars at the same time,
Then they
there's-
both would roll separately with advantage, correct?
Yeah.
or would at least reduce the DC.
He's rubbing
I'm
his
joking.
face. Audience.
I'm honestly joking.
You
Yeah, I
really
guess
hate us with that crowbar, don't you?
I don't hate you. It's just like it's such a shenanigans of the mechanics that it's like it would be not necessarily difficult, but entirely unnecessary for me to represent it mechanically. So,
At least this is like a normal crowbar situation.
how about this? You tell me what it is that you're going to do, and I'll tell you what you need to roll. How about that? How about we play D&D?
Right, so two of us using a crowbar.
No, because there's only one place for the lock. So you try to pry it open with the crowbar.
All right. So got
Go ahead.
advantage.
You can roll a strength check at advantage, not an athletics, because you're not like leaping or jumping or running, jumping, climbing trees. Just a strength check.
It's
at
the same
advantage.
modifier for me.
Oh, okay.
I'm not proficient in athletics. That's gonna be shit. 7.
7. You just see. What do you look like right now? You just look like a log, right?
Yeah, because I was a wolf,
Yeah,
so
right.
then I transferred
You
back.
just look like logs. Not a single creak of stressed metal at all. It is strong, stalwart.
All right, so just lift it.
Cole's gonna walk over quick and go, look, I want to see what you look like, and I'm gonna show him like pulling on it hard just to show him what he looks like pulling on it.
No, I'm more handsome than that. Come on.
Well, I just remember I'm still invisible, so booyah.
Oh yeah, you become visible then, because you tried to attack the fucking safe.
Okay. Can I try to open it with the same thing or not?
You absolutely can.
Okay. I'm gonna give myself guidance.
We have our first random person into the Discord server.
That would
Yay!
be a dirty 20.
Dirty 20? Okay. You hear?
Oh,
The very
never mind,
beginnings-
21.
21. So the very beginnings of stressed metal. This is a thick safe. This is hard to strength through. I mean, lock picking it is one deal. Forcing it open, it was specifically built to keep things from forcing it open. So you sense that it's giving a little bit. But you need to be more still. There needs to be more effort still here. It's not good enough. The crowbar is just stronger than the metal that the safe is made out of, essentially.
Anyone have anything we want to do?
We have a smidge of that black powder.
You know who we need? Is Eleazar.
I know.
We could freeze it and then crack it.
Yeah. I might have a freezing spell.
Oh, you might.
No, I don't. Sorry, friends.
I mean, I could try one of my new spells on it and see what happens, but I can't guarantee anything.
Yeah, and I swapped out chromatic orb for something else today, so.
I could always use Chaos Bolt, see what happens.
You can try.
Sure, why not? At level 1, of course. Just give it a shot.
Argus, get your hammer ready.
All right.
If he's successful, try to knock in the door.
It's a D20 to hit it, right?
Yeah,
Make a
it's
ranged spell attack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ranged spell attack roll, yes, correct.
21.
21. So its AC isn't very high because it's an immobile object.
Right.
What causes it to have a higher AC is because it's so defensible.
Right.
It's so stalwart. Yes, you do hit it. Go ahead and roll your damage. I will let you know right now. It definitely has a DR, which means it has DT, which is a damage threshold, which means you have to do a certain amount of damage to it. You have to hit that damage threshold or greater to do any damage to it. If you do anything less than that, it just doesn't take any damage.
Okay. I got an 8 and a 3, so I'm going to use fire, and it does 12 points damage.
12 points of damage. Okay, so the damage threshold was 10. So you do fire damage to it. The lock and the door now have a slight glow to them. Like some of the metal has been warped ever so slightly, just slightly. But only once. Well, you can't see the other 5 sides. You can only see the one side. Mm-hmm. So, but yes, that one side with the door does appear to be glowing. Kind of have that like dull gray orange glow to it. Like when the elements on your toaster just start getting warm. Mm-hmm. What are you guys doing? Because it's getting colder by the second.
Yeah.
Should we heat it up some more and then hammer it out with my
Yeah,
Soul Forge hammer?
that could work. I mean, the invisibility would drop for us if we cast a spell, right? So.
We have a way out of here anyway. We don't necessarily need to be invisible anymore.
All right. You guys are fine with that. I cast Firebolt onto it.
Okay, you cast Fireball. What's anybody else doing anything else?
Do we move the bed, right? The bed's not right on top.
You can
Yes.
move the bed if you want. You have been doing this under the bed because nobody said you moved the bed, so you
let's-
totally have been doing this under the
Let's
bed.
move the bed.
Yeah,
I don't
no.
want some cover for this.
Well,
Okay,
so
yeah, you
if
can
we
totally
move the bed,
and move the bed out of the way.
yeah, then I'll just create bonfire on it.
You just create bonfire on it. Sure, great,
I'll throw a produce flame at it too.
great. So bonfire, produce flame, and fireball. Everybody do your thing. It automatically fails a
Garbage.
dexterity save and throw. It is a stationary object.
I only roll a 9 to hit. Do I miss it, or do you not miss it when I'm throwing?
Produce flame requires an attack roll.
Yeah, it's a ranged attack.
I think you'll probably just set fire to the wood that's surrounding it then.
Well, bonfire might do the same thing anyway.
But still do your damage then.
Well, so yeah, so it was 9.
Mine's only
So
9 as well.
unfortunately, it doesn't reach its damage threshold. Go ahead.
21 to hit, but then I did 2 damage.
So it doesn't reach its
You
damage
get 2?
threshold.
Oh
again.
my gosh.
Yeah, I rolled
So
2.
you guys throw a bunch
ones.
of fire on it. Still seems pretty stalwart yet again.
Okay, I got to try again. I mean, this is silly.
It was a cantrip. I'll try again.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna follow Trichetti's thing now and just shoot a firebolt at it.
Yeah, that's not the
Oh,
damage.
you can do that now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You haven't, because this is the first time you've been able to do that.
Hello. What's going on in there? You home? You hear a knock at the door. So, I don't know if any of you have ever had cops at your door before, but it's that knock that's just like that bang, 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 bang. I'm like, why is that necessary? Why did you do that? But yes, that's what it sounds like.
I think they got it.
Okay, let's get this in the bag and let's get out the back door.
Okay.
I lock Flix's back door. Or the door.
You lock
to
the office door,
Yeah.
you close the office door, and you lock it.
Not so loud, but yeah.
Sure.
Stealthily.
Quietly close that door.
Yeah.
Great. So you guys are trying to get the safe that is now very, very hot out of the floor
Yeah.
and put it in the bag of holding. Okay.
I mean, it's not that hot. Most of our spells missed.
They
They
didn't miss.
do damage.
They just didn't do damage. And the wood around it is like hot. So the imagine it's as hot as a pan that's been on the stovetop for a while.
I have no feeling about it.
Okay. You want to like just one-handed try to palm this very heavy cubic one safe out
I'm
of the
very
ground?
used to hot things.
Okay, cool. So, are you trying to bare-hand palm
No,
Shaquille
I'm going
O'Neal this safe out of the ground?
Well, I can both
Let's have
rage hand
Tom
and have my
try to
unseen
pull it out.
servant assist.
Right, but as soon as your
5
unseen
pounds.
servant touches, it's going to take
It's
some
gonna die.
damage
Oh, and it has
because it is hot right now, and so will Mage Hand. So they'll both poof.
Well,
What are you guys doing?
Mage Hand can't carry anything over 10 pounds.
Or, but we
I'm
can
gonna
assist
try to
and help
smack it
take
with my
the hands
hammer.
off of the.
I'm gonna try to hit it with my hammer open.
You're gonna try to open it one more time.
With my hammer.
Okay, go ahead.
Sofka's like
I don't know
moving
what my-
closer and
It's
closer.
just roll an improvised weapon attack. Well, I know you're
I'm
proficient in hammers.
with hammers.
Yeah. So you just go ahead. Yeah,
19 to hit.
19. That hits.
I don't know what damage I would do with my Soul Forge hammer.
It's just use a warhammer. It's fine.
Is this knocking coming from the? This is coming from the outside.
From
of the,
yes, from the first door that goes into the building. So there's another door that you've now closed. That is the office door between that and the storefront.
Let's start making our way down.
Yeah,
the back
Sofka's
door,
already
the back
like
passage.
backing out.
I don't do that much damage.
I can't. I
8.
use my.
8.
Sorry.
Doesn't unfortunately reach his damage threshold.
I speak into my copper wire around my wrist and
You
point
cast message?
at the guy, and I do my best impression of Flixen. I'm tired. I'm so tired.
you know, go away. I'm fine. Everything's fine.
That's your impression?
I'm not good at. I'm not good at it.
Great, fantastic.
I'm gonna rip this thing out of the floor and take damage.
Just yeah, as we keep like moving.
Okay, cool.
Do you want me to
Those
roll
of you
a
with high
performance?
pass, yes, please roll performance. Those of you with high passive perception just hear like, oh, did you hear that? And the other was like, I didn't hear anything. You got to lay off the sauce. Ever since you got bit, you've been going crazy.
10 for the performance.
10. Yeah, that's what you hear, guys.
We got to get out of here.
Sofka's already like bagging out.
Like slinking down the tunnel.
We still have pass without a trace.
You're trying to
on,
break
so we
this
can
thing out?
go-
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Okay, roll strength check to pull this thing out of the ground.
16.
16. You break the wood around it. This
It's
thing
already, like,
is
all charred.
heavy. You're gonna need help to pull it up. You do take, however, during this process, 4 points of fire damage.
Burn, love it.
If it wasn't on fire.
So yeah, so
we'd use
I'll
the-
assist in the lifting and all
Okay,
that.
go ahead and roll a strength check as well.
Yeah, if it
Or
was
no,
on
I'm just giving
fire.
him advantage on what he did, or
Well, he already did his thing. We
Oh.
already resolved it. So go ahead and do another one. Yeah.
well, so I mean, is it still needed? I guess. As I thought.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
said
Because
it was
all he
still-
did was like break some of the wood around it. Like it still needs to be picked up. This thing is fucking heavy. Have you guys ever tried to lift an actual safe by yourself?
Yeah, I've got
It
one in
is-
my house that I've dealt with recently.
Yeah, it's very. They're on purpose exceedingly heavy to make it difficult to transport.
Will it light on
It's gonna be a 3.
3.
Is
Is
there any flames still left?
Log, you go. You hear something crack,
Like your spine.
like your back.
Is there any flames
That's,
left?
that's none of that.
Or just
Some embers.
It's still
do you
pretty
want
hot.
to use the rope of climbing?
I mean, potentially we could even just hook it onto the door and try and pull.
Like the handle.
Yeah, like try and throw it over a rafter and pull that way.
Oh, I see. You want to use leverage, like a crowbar. Yes, you can. If that's what you want to do, you can absolutely do that. Granted, the rafters are made of wood.
It's a magical item.
Yeah, but we also have our lovely rope.
Yes, but the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. You can do it. You can try it. You can certainly try.
I mean, you
see
could.
what happens. There's only
Let's
one
do
way
it
to find
over
out.
a couple of rafters, and that way it's reinforced. It's less.
Worst comes to worst, we collapse the house on us and we're dead anyway.
That is the worst.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
want
Pulley
that.
system needs to
that's
be as
pretty
strong
bad.
as the spot and it's lifting. Like, you know, but
I have a block and tackle.
that's very true. So, do you guys take the time to set up your rope of climbing and block of tackle?
No.
But you just use the command word,
Wait.
and the rope
Right, no,
animates
what
and does it
he's-
for you.
Yeah,
but what
yeah,
he's saying
you can
is
do
that the wood above it may not be strong enough to support the rope holding it without breaking.
Doesn't
Like
rope
the
just lift
beams,
it?
the wooden beams.
Yeah, could the rope just like lift it?
No, it doesn't do that. The rope just
Okay.
ties itself to a point within
Okay.
range.
And it has a stronger tensile
I believe.
strength than regular rope.
Right, because it is magically
Right.
resilient.
Because it has strength up to like 3,000 pounds.
Right.
Okay.
I believe I'm saying that
Yeah,
correctly.
it has to attach to an object.
Yeah.
If you turned into a bear, could you pick it up?
Yeah, but I can't turn into a bear again. And if we get in a fight, I would be very sad.
Me too. Like that is.
We got the items. Let's just go.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
go.
I was hoping we could get our money back.
Coming from someone who's lived their life with no money, this is a lot of money. We'll be fine. Let's go.
Okay.
Okay, you guys peace out and head down the tunnel.
Closing the bookcase behind us.
Yes.
Yes.
Closing the bookcase behind you.
You should
As
tell your
hear
servant to put all the books back.
Or
the
at least
knocking
or at least put the book back
fade.
that locks it.
Yeah, okay, I'll tell him that.
As you hear the knocking fade, as you get farther and farther away from the building, you guys go down a very steep grade, finding yourself eventually in somewhere between like some natural cavern and sewer area. Safka, you back home. This isn't necessarily an area you've been to before, but you just have an instinct for these kinds of things. So you should be able to get yourselves out of or to a location of that you guys desire within a reasonable amount of time.
How dark is it?
Pitch black.
Light.
Cast light. What do you cast light on?
Same thing I've been casting on for like the last several sessions. Belt. My belt.
Okay, cool. Where are you guys headed?
I mean, that would want
You
to-
guys stole 3 decently magical items from this area. Good for you. I don't know why people are worried about murder hobos. It's worried about the people that loot towns after catastrophes happen.
We were gonna hit the Meladonas.
Yeah, make sure that they are okay.
Okay, so you can head over to Tinctures for Tinkers. Sokka, have you ever... Yes, you have
Yeah,
been
I
there.
have.
So you can... you have an option of how you want to do this, because you've gone through... You could either go through the gutter proxy entrance, which is the entrance from the sewers that the orphans and the street urchins come through, or you could find a manhole cover that's quite close to the street entrance of the building.
Any opinions? I can get us in the gutter, right.
I think we
in the shop.
going through the very back door, through where the kids are,
Yeah,
Okay.
because I want to check on the kids too.
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
I was more worried about the kids first since they're chained. Some of them are
Okay.
chained there.
With little difficulty, if any, you find your way to where it is that you were before. Sofka, because of your ability, you are able to avoid the harrying assault of the filth beasts and the shambling mounds that troll these areas. You are very good with this, so you are able to help the rest of your party avoid said things. You reach the spot that you all recognize. You see the like the kind of half semicircle hole there with the bars, but there's no light. And in fact, there's like, it looks to be like a piece of sheet metal blocking that part off.
Crowbar.
You try to cast message on Melodonna.
I can try. I mean, it's gonna not necessarily hit him. It would hit whoever is there, but I can certainly try.
Cole raps on the sheet metal.
This is no, I don't have a thing that sounds like it. That's fine. Yeah, yeah. You rapped on the sheet metal. No response. But you believe the two of you hear breathing on the other side. Ragged breathing.
Meladonath, are you there?
Proclaim yourself.
It's the Argent Flame.
Open it, open it. You hear as the sheet metal grates against the stone, and the bars are removed from their placeholders. You crawl through, and you see a room full of children. We're talking over 30 to 40 children in this one tiny, cramped room. A small fire that's a bit into the corner, closer to the center of the room, with what looks like the corpse of a rat roasting over it. Food is food.
No, I get it. I get it.
I just love your face there.
It looks as though they've kind of locked down this room, given the circumstances. Melodonus is here, 3 children on his lap, shoulder, and knees. All of them look not great. Hungry, terrified. One that recognizes you, Argus and Cole, is the one that took you to the spot, the junction, once before, and kind of is a little bit less shy about everything, and walks up and just kind of grabs your hand and just kind of checks to see if you're okay, and kind of heads back to the group.
The dwarven child that like led us down. We were looking for
Korgak.
Korgak, yeah. There's an assortment of children here. Half-elves, humans, dwarves, gnomes. There's even an elven child. The elven child is being held tightly by Milladonith like a death grip. She's sitting on his lap. She looks bit.
Is everybody okay, Milladonith?
We tried our best. When the screams happened, we closed off as much as we could. I sent word as soon as I could, hoping that sanctuary would provide us here. However, we were not all so lucky to avoid confrontation. There are those that ended up worse off than us, and there are those that have ended up better off than us. But from what I can imagine and what I have heard, everyone is accounted for.
Has anybody been bitten?
You see a face of grim realization cascades across his face. Almost as if he already knows what that means. There have been those. We are doing what we can. Kind of putting on a brave face for the children's sake.
Are we able to roll for the heart since we just used it, or we have to wait the 3 days?
We have to wait 3 days.
Yeah, it won't recharge for 72 hours after it's been used. I'm gonna walk with Milladonith and talk and tell him
You
what I
wanna
know. Yeah, so that way
Talk
I'm,
with him privately.
Well, yeah, I'm just kind of doing it in my head, so that way he like telling him what we
I
figured out
understand.
about the bites and everything like that.
You're just kind of meander around the room and try to telepathically communicate with him?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Easily enough. At first, he appears startled to hear a voice in his mind, but then after he regains his composure, he is listening with a more composed embouchure. What do you say?
Sorry, I didn't mean to surprise you, my friend. And then I tell him everything that I know about the bites, and like I said to everybody else earlier about
You get
the
those
resting.
eyes. I don't know if you've ever been like on a date with somebody and you not sure how the date is going, and you're with a friend, and you just kind of like use those eyes of like. Depending on how you open your eyes or how like you side glance at somebody, which means like either he's cute or like get me out of here or please save me or those kind of eyes. He kind of gives you those glances, very non-verbal cues of I understand, I know, and then just a sad I know.
Okay. I just
Like
nod.
a very sad I know.
I just nod.
But he's verbally silent for the entire time. You can see his eyes have that glazed over, about to cry, holding back tears look.
Did you tell him that we've cured it before?
No, just talking more about what could happen.
The ways in which you can. Yeah.
Yeah. I do mention that, we have excised it before with burning surgery. And that we had an item, but we can't use it. It's already been used. We can't use it again right now.
What are the rest of you doing?
As soon as we got inside, I sat down with my back against one of the walls, and I'm going to start inscribing like a little doodle on the back side of my shield.
Okay. Sofka?
Sofka's just kind of in shock. Like, this is.
You see yourself
Yeah.
in the eyes of each and every one of these children here. And you look at Melodonith and you're like, I know exactly who you are. You helped me. You are the kind of people that helped me when I needed it the most.
I'll message Cole just so that only he hears it. Did you tell him that if it's not taken care of, it might spread?
He knows.
Okay.
Depending on how long it's been, like, he might
Can I just text this number?
remove the infection.
Right. We need to do this carefully so we don't cause panic.
The pizza's getting delivered and I have to figure this out. Adam, I believe the pizzas are out front for you.
I asked you like 10 minutes ago, but
Yeah,
I'll go grab them.
I think he's headed down now. Do you want them to come out from the front?
I'm up on the 5th floor, so I have to go down there regardless.
Yeah, he's up on the 5th floor. He's going to head down there and meet you at the front
Oh.
entrance, I believe.
That works.
Okay. All right, you're welcome back. Sorry, guys. We're just trying to deliver a pizza to our friend that's doing it remotely. But yes, sorry, that was a really bad moment to interrupt. But it's okay. So, Sofka, you see the worst part of this is that you see every stage of your adolescence, your young age, and every stage of how you grew up in each and every one of these differently aged children throughout this entire room. And you see that meek, tortured, desperate look in each and every one of them. And as you're looking across them, there are more than one that have been bitten. And you know who Milodonith is. You know just by looking at this room, seeing who these people are, he's a gutter proxy. For sure. You know that what he does is not for himself or themselves. It's for them.
Yeah.
And now you also know, given you have actually been in this exact position as these harmed children, of what he may be forced to do to and for them.
Sofka is just like crying and not really like kind of like is in a corner, just like crying.
Cole, we already did you, Argus.
As I look around, do most of these bites look like more than 1 day old?
Roll a medicine check.
18.
18. They look fresh. As in, they have happened before these people have gotten a chance to rest. You imagine that also, as traumatic experience as this has been, none of these children have been able to sleep. None of them.
Milodon, can I have a private word?
Do me a favor, roll a persuasion check.
Because they are...
That one.
You see his fingers tighten around the elven girl. The full elven girl. Looks like she's some sort of maybe wood or high elf. It's hard to tell. He is anything. He'll do anything but leave her side.
Here's what I know. When the wounds are fresh enough, you can amputate. You can cut out the infection. I have been bitten myself. And I have been cleared of the virus. Or the infection.
He looks at you with a mixture of anger, rage, and hopelessness. And he says, "You've won. It's over. There aren't many much of us left. Please allow us the indignity of picking up the pieces of the few of us that remain."
In what way is this a win? People are dying.
You
You are
dwarves
hurt.
don't even know, do you?
You act like this is something that's premeditated. This is planned by a dwarf. This was done by an elf. And I'm here to help. Emrys Ehrenbach is the one who
Still
did
an
this.
elf.
And that's why I'm trying to help. You don't have to let it go.
Won.
There's not anything to win. This is not a win-win situation. This is not a win situation. The only way I could have won is if we could have taken down Amherst, and we missed. I'm not here for a race war. That's ridiculous. I'm here because there are all of these children, and there's you. The only elf I've ever met who actually has a heart, compassion, and love that actually wants to do something good for dwarves, elves, everyone out there. Why would I want to win? Why would I want you destroyed? You are the one that I've seen that has had the compassion. I want to help. And this is the way that I know that we can save these children's lives. I have hope. We're not here to just give up and let this happen.
His head bows, stunned, emotionally exhausted. You get the feeling he's been in shock with the realization of what he may have been forced to do. He has been given a second option, albeit not much better. The tears that run down his eyes are the first true raw emotion that you've seen him. His admission of the fact that he and his people have lost, and they're just trying to survive. And that this girl, the elves that are born luckily once every 100 years, represents hope, and that hope was dashed before his eyes. He looks at you, and then he looks at her. She squeezes his neck in the back of the nape of his neck. She has his arm around him. She looks like a 7-year-old girl, but you know that in elven years that means that she's at least 30, 40, if not more. She leans in, her forehead touches his forehead. Both their eyes close, tears come down from both of their faces. There's a moment. She looks at you after she opens her eyes and raises her head. And with a face that means and that represents somebody putting on a brave face in the face of adversity and hopeless odds. A child, no less. She nods. A furrowed frown. She holds out her arm. Melodonna begins weeping uncontrollably. Pulls her arm in. And through crackled voices, no. We can make this easier. He lists off a short list of names among the children. 8 children follow him as he stands up and gestures to go upstairs to his laboratory. Log, what are you doing?
I will turn into a wolf and be a support animal.
Oh.
Oh my god. Oh.
Jenny, you made berries today, yes?
Yeah, and I'll use my other 2 first levels to feed basically the rest of the kids there.
Okay.
So
you
there's
can do
24 good berries for
Yeah, you can
distribute among all of them.
you can essentially feed the rest of the people, the rest of the children here.
Yeah.
I was more thinking those that needed something operated on. Those would
I mean, I still have a
heal
little...
them afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I'll still have a little magic afterwards.
I can heal them after.
I can too. But I'm going to connect with Melodonna and go, what are you taking them upstairs to do?
They will feel no pain. If we need to amputate, we will make sure they are not here when it happens.
Let me help.
That is.
Then let us help you. That's why we came here, my friend.
Unfortunately, the complexities of such tinctures most likely elude you. Not to be arrogant, but they are my responsibility, and I will be holding myself responsible should anything happen to them.
Do not need to be the surgeon, though, my friend.
I have had some training. I can help.
Adam, did you get your pizza?
Yes, all the rest of
I
us are
sent
on
you
the
a
verge of
message.
tears here.
Thank you.
Fuck.
It has reached a point for Miladonith that he can no longer process any more than he has. He refuses the death grip clutch on this elven young girl, well, young girl's relative, that he holds in his hand, now cradled on his hip, as he walks down the thin corridor towards the ladder that leads to his bedroom that then rolls into his laboratory. It is of a man, as you can tell by his gait, that knows he is approaching the gallows. He did what he did and what he has been doing here as a gutter proxy to avoid exactly what he is about to do. But he walks still, because he knows there are no better options. He goes up the ladder,
The rest of the children follow him. Some of them not really knowing what's about to happen. Don't understand what's going on. Some of them, the older ones, understanding. And that's the worst part. Soft guys, you see their faces. Children putting on a brave face. Braver than the adults. To sacrifice something that they don't yet understand the value of. Eventually, they all sally into the laboratory. Milodonoth, one-handed, takes his time concocting a tincture. A few minutes pass as he's doing this. Zemdak, you are inscribing something upon your shield, you said.
Correct.
How long does that take?
I mean, it's a fairly simple image, so I don't know. I'm just scratching it in there so I can use this new infusion idea that I had.
Okay. Sofka, are you still in the corner crying?
Sofka, like, wants to go up and help, but, like, can't move. Like, she's so... like, everything that has ever happened to her is, like, keeping her in that... in the corner. Like, unable to move, but she wants to, like, go up and help.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is it a fear for Sofka? Or is it a self-preservation?
It's like a crushing sadness that means that she can't get herself to get up. It's like everything that has ever happened in her life is just hitting her all in this moment. And like all the hard things that she's gone through are just like hitting her, so she can't do what she wants to do, and she can't go out and help, and yeah.
As you wrestle with that, Cole, Argus, you accompany Illidan upstairs. Shani, you stayed out here. The children are ecstatic to have something that fills their bellies. For some of them, you see, for real? I can have this? You're giving this to me? This is something I'm allowed to do?
Of course. It's just, it will fill you up for the day. I meander my way over to Safka and put a hand on her shoulder, and I don't know what you've been through, but if you want to help me distribute these, put a few smiles on their faces.
Okay. Do you see some of the younger children are like, they're happy, they're smiling, they're gnawing at their berry, taking their time consuming it. And some of them go giggle and like bat the berry out of the one that's next to them, and they try to pick it up, and a couple others scramble after it, and it becomes a little bit of a game.
I grab a couple and distribute them out.
Log, you wander around, leaning up against, doing that little thing where someone scratches you and you go, and you put your leg on the floor, being the best emotional support wolf that you possibly can. None of these children are afraid of you. They've seen far scarier things than a wolf in the sewers. As we fade back to Milodonoth, it takes 10, 20 minutes to create this tincture. It is a clear, odorless, tasteless potion. Essentially, for meta-knowledge, essentially allows for the mechanical value of the spell Catnap, but in potion form. knocking them out for anywhere between 10 minutes and an hour. He hands them out to each and every one of these 8 children. And he stops. Frozen. Not knowing what to do or say next. As he's just handing it to the elf girl that he has on his hip. As he holds it in her hand with her hand in his hand, his mouth agape, barely breathing. He doesn't know what to say. He doesn't know what to do. He's just frozen. He's checked out.
Cole is gonna walk up to him with the little elf girl. And Cole is in tears right now. She kind of reminds him of his little sister. And he is going to say, "You are such a brave child. You remind me so much of my sister. She's brave and smart and strong, just like you. It's going to be okay. We are here to help us and live on. It'll be okay." And that last one's kind of directed at Adolescent more than her.
He purses his lips, pulls his hand back, nods at you in this kind of like depressive thanks. You get the sense that he's removed himself from the situation because he can't withstand what's happening. He crouches, and then this monotone, robotic voice says, "Everybody drink up." They all pop their corks. And they drink. As Milodonis falls into his chair, his head in his hands, and just waves lackadaisically at you, Argus. As one by one, each of the children begins to slump to the floor.
Alright, Cole, you ready to try to do this?
Sure he is, I'm gonna be.
I wish Melodon could help. He's probably the best hand for it, but
Yeah.
I get it. And guess what? I didn't prepare calm emotions today. I switched for augury.
Dang it.
Seriously, it was going between the two. Would have helped a lot. Alright, so do we want to heat up the blade before you...
I think that's going to be our best bet.
You take a moment to kind of get the lay of the land as far as like what limbs you're going to have to sever. Some of them, you're lucky. It's on the edge of a finger or a hand or on like a toe. You might be lucky to just like amputate half of the foot and therefore keep the rest of it. It might be a little weird and unbalanced. They might need special shoes, but they're okay. But the other half, it's on their thigh, their bicep.
We're going to have to take holes.
The little girl has the bite on her shoulder. The elf girl. Her arm needs to be removed.
I think we need to use Linkiterate. Let's heat up the blade first.
Argus and Sofka, you are reminded of who it is that did this. as both of you look at these children, reminding you of your siblings, of who you were when you were younger, you were reminded of who caused this, of who's responsible now for children that have to give up their limbs. Children that just drew a sad lot in life. It wasn't their fault. And this moment, most likely you gain an absolute aversion to said person. A sworn hatred for what you, Argus, are now forced to do, and for what you, Safka, have to endure. I understand that this is a difficult process, so if need be, I'm not going to make you do each person individually. That would be torturous and unfair.
Thank you.
If you would like, I will allow you to use your spells, your abilities, any type of check you would like to think about. If you want to persuade a person, do a person, work on alchemy, work on tinkering, whatever it is you'd like to do, your creativity knows no bounds in this situation. Whatever it is that you can think of, whatever brainchild that you would like to bestow upon this endeavor, you are welcome to. It would just be accompanied by a roll, and it will add to your to the possible success rate of this activity. Take a moment if you need to.
The main things I can think about are giving you enhanced ability on dexterity and burning hands cauterizing wounds on the ones that are really dangerous, that we might be able to cut out the infection without losing the entire limb.
Right, when it comes to the whole limb, I think we're better off with you, me, and potentially Mage Hand holding the limb or the person in place, and you with your strength. Potentially either heating up the blade or cutting it off and then cauterizing the wound. Is there a lit fireplace anywhere in here?
There are several like Bunsen burners about,
No, it could be
like
hot
steampunk Bunsen burners. However, if you wanted to make said Bunsen burners into a larger flame, there's plenty of wood and planks that you could pry up to create said thing.
I was
Unfortunately, here's the thing too. Milodonith could possibly help you, but at the moment he's become catatonic.
I'm
Which
gonna.
is why I wish I had calm emotions.
Cole is gonna walk over to Milodonith though, and he is going to not like grab him. He's gonna grab him, but not hard. Just kind of grabbing his shoulders. Milodonith, I know a lot, and I can do a lot, but we need you for this. We know you know more. We know you are smarter than us when it comes to these things. You are going to perform surgery on me. We need your mind and your hands. You cannot let these children, you cannot disappear into your own mind. We need your help for these children.
Go ahead and roll a persuasion check.
28.
Yes.
In the back of your mind, you hear, you cannot focus on your objective. And that thought is lost in a crowd of other self-affirmations and self-realizations. And you hear, as you connect specifically with Miladalis' minds, you just hear, I'm sorry, Malkoth. 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 Over and over and over and over and over again, in an unending cycle of different cadences and candor. I'm sorry, Malkoth. I'm sorry, Malkoth. I'm sorry, Malkoth.
Cole's gonna snap back.
But you pierce that barrier and that veil of this, like, self-spiraling mantra that they appear to be fallen into. And he hears you. And he might not have been able to hear you if you couldn't get into his mind. And he looks up at you. Again, just rivers flowing down his face.
Cole's crying with him, so...
And he just puts his hand on your shoulder, stands up, mouth agape, autopilot, starts brewing antiseptics, potions, marginal healing, like balms, just as fast as he elfinly possible.
We need a fireplace. We need a fire. Where can we start a fire now?
He waves a hand and a bonfire starts in the corner of the room, engulfing a good portion of the wood that then elides into stonework. Like, as he's not even thinking about it.
Should I have your dagger?
I'm going to say a prayer. I want to pray for guidance and pray for help from Kosuth in burning out this infection of the undead. Before we start.
Go ahead and roll a religion check for me.
13.
13. Okay. You hear a response. It's not a voice. It's not words. It's not that crackly fire primordial that's like an offshoot of Ignin. It is, or a precursor to Ignin. It's something else. It's intent. Not dissimilar from how you communicate with your patron. It's intent. And the intent you hear is, what you send to me will be waiting here when they join me later. Whatever burns to ash will come back to life when they're ready. To you, meaning when they die and they are burned and cremated, however long that is from now, they will join in the great conflagration whole as one. And he promises you that. I promise you.
Well, the kid's already out. I'll be like, I promise you that one day you will be whole again. Either through the great fire, or if I ever get the ability, I will come back and make you all whole again. And then I'll hand you my...
Cole's gonna take his dagger and Argus's dagger and stick the blades close enough to the fire.
Make them red hot. You got it. Okay.
I'm not going to pursue this line of roleplay too much further because I know how difficult this can be. And I don't want this to be gruesome, especially since it involves children. So, here's what I'll do. I'm going to have each of you roll medicine checks. One of you can roll at advantage, seeing as Milodonoth is helping you with his potions. If there's anything else you'd like to do before you engage this, if there's anything else you guys would like to do this before you engage upon this, in order to either give you some sort of edge, feel free to do so.
You think we're going to be using more dexterity? Strength, intelligence, wisdom, because you said we're doing medicine checks.
Yeah. Wisdom.
Alright. I'll enhance ability on both of our wisdom using a 3rd level spell.
Okay.
Awesome.
Then both of you get to roll your medicine checks at advantage. The DC has been affected by what you have done up to this point, due to Milodonoth's help, your prayers, your persuasions. Go ahead and roll. Depending on how well you roll will depend on how well the results are.
Dirty 20.
23.
23. We fade to black. When the camera comes back into view, there is a view of a flickering, sputtering fire. But it's not the fire that you were engaging in, it's the fire that had the rat meat hanging over it, cooking down in the basement. The rest of most of the children have gone to bed. They're sleeping soundly. Now their bellies full. Sofka, Log, Trisheni, acting as guardians, keeping track of everybody. It's this weird feeling of, that's great. We were able to feed a bunch of, orphans that have no home. It's great. We did a good thing. I can't sleep knowing what's happening right now. Argus and Cole, you walk into the room. Success. You were able to successfully and healthfully, with the most efficiency as you think you could have done, amputate the limbs and keep those lives safe. Not a single life was lost. There are some of those that do not have legs. There are some of those that do not have arms. Specifically, the elven girl no longer has her right arm. But there's no signs of infection. She's healthy, as are the rest. They're not in any pain. You did what you could. The best you possibly could given the circumstances. Again, that rage sets in. You know who did this. You see the rest of your compatriots sitting there, this kind of sullen,
Where's Milodonoth?
contemplative feeling about it. Milodonoth is upstairs, from what you can gather, not down here. What do you do?
Zemdak was pretty much not able to sort of emotionally process this, so he threw himself into his work just for a distraction, I think.
Yeah.
So he's been over in the corner like the whole time.
Zemdak, I believe about this time you finished what it is that you're trying to create.
Okay. I mean, if I have any extra time on top of that, I was going to start sketching up like the designs for prosthetics.
Okay, you can do so. Go ahead and roll a tinkering intelligence check for me.
28.
28. This is pittance for you. This is
I've
creating prosthetics.
No
is-
arms and legs.
Yeah,
So
it's
just
creating articulatable servos prosthetics is easy. You had to do this when you created a actual entire entity that is self mobile.
Yeah.
So creating prosthetics, child's play, literally. You feel like given the materials, you could do it, no problem.
Okay. I'll start sort of brainstorming ways that I could potentially like magitech them up so they were more like useful.
Cool.
Okay, cool. If you come up with some ideas, go ahead and
Yeah.
let
No,
me know what
I'll actually think on it more, but
Sure.
just in character, I'm starting to think of ways that I could maybe
So
have them
Zemdek-
be able to control them.
Zemdek kind of falls into that very stereotypical scientist who can't. Yeah, I can fix the problem. I can fix the problem. I can fix the problem. No need for tears. No need for crying. No need for all this. I can fix the problem. Don't worry about it. I can fix the problem. I can't process these emotions, so I will use what I have, and what I have is my brain to fix the problem. This is a problem, and it needs to be fixed, and I have the solution. And that's all they can see. They have blinders on that.
It's also very probable that the same person who did this has his sights set on people that I care about. So try
Right.
not to think about that too.
Now all of you, pretty much all of you, have personal vendettas against what happened here. The rest of you meet up. What do you do?
It's done.
2, 3, 4, 5. When Cole comes down just randomly, he's going to attach onto Zemdak.
With his mind?
Yep,
Okay.
I rolled a 4, Zemdak got it.
Okay.
And all Zemdak is going to hear is a scream of rage and sorrow and anger.
Cool. So this is what happens, because being the two of you, you hear, I can fix this. I can fix this. This is a problem that has a solution. I can fix this. I can fix this. This is a problem that has a solution. Just like a mantra, over and over and over again. And Zemdak, you just hear this blood-curdling scream of rage and sadness just pierce your mind. And for a minute, you think it's your own mind. You think it because that's kind of what you're feeling and you can't process it. And then you realize, wait, no, this is something else.
I wish I had some Gutbuster.
Zemdak has some.
Oh no, you're muted, bud.
There we go.
I look around, like, Cole, are you like looking at me? Like, are you projecting this to me? Or is
Yeah,
it
I
just
can see you, but it's
escaping
more of
and
a.
I'm the victim.
It's more of a random thing, just pure anger, rage. After especially having to do that, all of that.
Look around, see if I can find Log or Trisheni.
Log is probably curled up in a ball next to the fire, keeping some kids warm as they kind of rest on you, using you as a pillow.
And then focus on Cole. Now that we know that he has some capabilities. Go right back to my work.
You just kind of share a glance with each other, being like, bro, I know. But there's nothing to say. There's nothing that can be said. Nothing that, no word, every word would fall short of what of the meaning that is intended to convey.
So I messed up the design I was currently working on when he screamed at me. So I'm gonna crumple a piece of paper up and I'm gonna be like, "Hey kids, watch this. Argus, pull!" And I'll toss it up in the air.
I'm so deadpanned right now. I just did all of that surgery.
Yeah, you did surgery with me.
It falls to the ground.
I literally just gave you a chance to burn something.
I know. I literally just burned a bunch of kids' limbs.
Like, what? Argus decided not to burn something?
Yeah.
This is serious.
Fortunately, most of the kids are
Argus
safe.
is being controlled by Aramis Armbach. We need to investigate. Obviously, he's not himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of you become suspicious. I'm like, are you really Argus? No.
Cole's, I think, the only one who doesn't become suspicious.
Right.
Yeah.
You just shared a very traumatic moment with him. Yes.
I'm very close to doing something that's really, really awful for us. So I'm trying to not do it.
You would put a ascending to Amorous and be like, "We're fucking coming for you." Ooh, fucking dude.
It's on that level, but it's...
I mean, granted,
It's-
Argus is probably like thinking right now that it's a great idea. Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense.
It would be more around, I'm literally going to take Tortesi and throw him in a ball of fire.
Ooh.
For what you've done to these children.
I mean, that's what Colt wanted you to do from the beginning, so he's okay with that.
But I'm trying to not, because I know, one, he has Eleazar. Two, we don't know where he is and how he can get to our families. So I'm trying to focus on not lighting a fire.
Not yet. Someday we'll get there.
I didn't say any of that.
I
That's
know.
all, like,
I'm
but
just
I'm
saying. I'm just saying.
This is why I'm not
Speaking as...
Yes.
playing.
Exactly.
This is why I
Sorry.
can't play light fire. I can't, like, it's taking everything I have to not, like,
Be vengeful
because I have the ability,
with great power.
and so it's I'm thinking about it in whole aspect. When-
You're fully considering it.
yeah, but there's too much at stake, and that's what's...
Speaking of which, Drasheni,
Yes.
what are you doing in this moment?
You guys come down. I'll go up. I'll cast Good Berry again and leave a Good Berry on each one of them. But the entire time, I'm thinking, if I had just had a little more time, I could have stopped him. I could have stopped the host. I could have stopped him from. I could have stopped him from getting away. How can I fix this? How can I stop time? How can I slow it down? And I start thinking of how to
Zach Galifianakis.
figure out.
Equations all over the place. Yeah.
Right. As I'm just mindlessly just.
You start with your claws, start etching those, like, you know, when you scratch a stone, it shows that white thing. You just start etching draconic and arcane equations, filling the entire wall with of this is a problem, I can fix it. I have a solution. This is a problem, I can fix it.
Right.
I have the solution.
I know how to. Yeah, I know how to.
Yes. High intelligence characters often think that. Yes.
Right. I know how to stop their minds, kind of, for a little bit. If I expound upon that and do X, Y, and Z, and so on and so
It's to
forth.
use gravimetric forces to create a tight, high gravity dense space, like almost like an event horizon, if it were, or a singularity that would cause just a specific space or a specific creature to have to endure slowed down time, or a different time dilation.
Right. But I'm kind of doing it in the background as I continue to just still be present, and I'll continue thinking about it throughout
So
the evening.
Trisheni's beautiful minding it over there in the corner.
I do cast Good Berry one more time and give it to the kids that are upstairs.
Absolutely, you can do so. You just see Miladonith has since slumped to... You know when you fall to your knees and you just let your knees split apart and you fall and just lean back onto your butt? Or if you just kind of like given up if you're sitting in the rain? That kind of feeling, you just see that, and he just has the elf girl, his eyes wide, he's just stroking her hair. And just hushing and hushing and hushing. And he barely even responds to you as you come up there and start to mush the berries and massage the throats and pull it down. They do ingest them easily.
Because it's catnap, right? So it's only like about 10 minutes that they're...
Well, right, but he's modified it a
So
little bit to
okay.
be as long as it needs it to be.
Okay.
Essentially anywhere between 10 minutes and an hour. But yeah, they start to muster and stir. You start to hand them to them. They don't appear to be in any pain, so whatever he did a good job. He knows what the fuck he's doing when it comes to potions. The cuts are clean. It's extremely sanitary. They're okay. Only essentially 4 out of 8 full limbs needed to be. Out of the 8 children that were there, only 4 full limbs needed to be amputated. The others, you were able to excise a portion, and then so it would make that like, it'll look a little weird, but whatever, right? They still have the use of all 4 of their limbs. Milodon is still super hyper focused on the fact that the birth and the existence of one of his people, of which they give birth, if they're lucky, once every 100 years, if they're lucky, or once every 1,000 years, because that's the way their lifespan is. He's just distraught. He's trying to pull himself out of it, and the only way he can do it is by trying to make... Every once in a while, actually, Trishani, as you're up there, you hear, "Sorry, Malkath, I'm sorry. Malkath, I'm sorry, Malkath," as he is muttering to himself.
I'll just, as I had given that girl the good berry, I'll just kind of, again, I know he won't be fully aware of it, but I'll place my hand on his shoulder and just, try to be a little supportive as best I can before
You do.
everyone.
Tough. Lot.
I want to sit down next to the fire and start, since I know this town.
I assume you burned the limbs.
Oh, absolutely. I made that
limbs.
statement.
Yeah.
In one of my thing, I was like, I just was burning kids' limbs upstairs.
Jesus. You didn't have to say it out loud. Fuck.
I know that the old lady from the beginning of this town told these kids stories from my childhood. So I'm going to sit down in front of the flame and start retelling some of those stories that I know that they've heard that are related to...
Go ahead and roll a performance check with advantage, because this is something you've heard time and time and time again.
Yeah, that was bad. 8.
The cool thing about telling stories to children is that no matter how bad you tell it, they still love it.
Yeah.
So, vast majority of these kids are enraptured in your tale, regardless. And you realize, and you're self-aware of the fact that, yeah, you are emotionally fucked up right now, and you're not telling the story as well as you could, but they don't care.
Just trying to also use it to get out of my own head.
You do sometimes. So, there's, you're moving in and out of trying to, remove yourself from what it is you just had to do and trying to make these kids feel okay. There's a good portion of them that, you're young and just a little bit more, I don't want to say oblivious, but just blissful. Even though they've had a hard life, being like, oh, it's story time? It's my favorite part of the day. Yeah. You do that. Eventually, because I have to move through this fucking scene or I'm going to die, eventually all of you rest and sit down. As long as you guys are okay. I imagine you're probably quite exhausted emotionally to do much of anything else today. Unless you guys wanted to do anything else today.
If we're bedding down, just to lose that temptation, I'm going to cast Sending on my sister.
Okay.
And tell her to be safe. We might be coming soon to see you, but be safe. There's strong presence at work. Be safe.
She sounds a little confused.
I'm sure she would.
As she responds to you, she says, "All right, well, careful of Karadine. I heard there was some bad news bears that happened there recently."
Make sure you're eating right and that you're sleeping okay.
It's my sister. It'd be more about drinking, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, and don't lose my cup that I... And then it just cuts off.
Yeah, Zimdak, do you still have one of those bottles? I feel like we could all use a little bit.
All I got from the gut buster was like some rot gut or the gut buster.
You
No,
did
you
also
grabbed a bunch
loot
of bottles of
the-
wine from the pint.
Oh,
of
that's
blood.
right.
Yes, you did loot rot gut from the pint of blood, but you did loot other things in the gut buster.
Yeah, you got wine. You got like a good 6 bottles of wine.
I think it was
Yep.
8.
No, it was
Yeah,
eight.
it
You
was.
rolled an
I
eight.
think you
That's
rolled
right,
8.
Before everyone goes to bed, I'm going to go upstairs and find Melodonith and the elven girl, and in Elvish say thank you for what you do for these children. And I'll just walk away.
Roll a wisdom check.
10.
10. Melodonic grabs you by the wrist and stops you as you attempt to leave. And looks at you and speaks to you in Elvish like Ale Menedina. And a bunch of other Elvish words that mean essentially this saying you're familiar with. You don't know why you're familiar with it. You don't remember hearing it ever in the orphanage, or I'm sorry, in the dwarfenage, or in growing up in the streets, or what have you. But something about it sounds painfully familiar. And the translation of said saying is odd, because it literally translates to something along the lines of, this was not our home, but it can be. And that makes sense, knowing what you know of the elves, being born from the Fae, coming from the Fae, this plane not being their home. But probably means something different now. This was not our home. We waged a war. We almost died. We almost became extinct as a species. But it can be. And you just see just the smallest glimmer of the hope that you felt after you used the heart in their eyes. For just a split second. And then the elven girl, she does one of those things where they're like, they kind of coo and snore into your chest. And then she stirs a little bit, cuddles closer. And then they release your wrist. With a look directly, these piercing eyes looking at you of just say. You just innately get this feeling via your passive insight that just says, never forget. Never forget that.
I say, I know. And I walk back down.
You walk back down. You all rest. Through tears and... I'm sorry. Go
All
ahead.
I'm going to say is I'll eventually get rest and get Arcane Recovery. I'll cast Goodberry for 3 first levels so that tomorrow Melodonith has enough to feed all the kids again.
Oh my god.
You guys are so pure.
After we casually.
I know.
After all the looting.
After talking all this shit about all the stealing and looting we're
You're
doing.
like, fucking looting businesses is one thing. If you hurt a single child, I'm coming after you.
Right. We should all still, I believe, have enough one good berry for tomorrow too, and like.
I was going to maybe create food and water and give them tons of, but it only lasts for 24 hours.
I meant to say before we went upstairs that Cole put his good berry down there for you to use.
So you all rest. You can all do that, yes. Through the means of your abilities and your spells, a veritable among the assortment of you can make sure that at least for the next 24 hours that these children are more than well taken care of. You rest down, emotionally and physically and mentally exhausted. Cole, you are haunted by the same types of images. Log, you as well. But you sleep. You gain a long rest. You wake up on the 2nd of High Lock. Safka, you wake up to a nudge. You're the first one to awake. You feel like somebody jostling your shoulder.
I look over.
You see Milladonna standing there. Chest held high, shoulders high, hands wrapped within each other, folded together. Looking down at you, chin up, doing their best to put on the face, the professional face that they put on. And they say in Elvish, come with me.
I follow.
You follow Milladonna up to the level of the laboratory before he pulls down a foldable ladder that leads to the roof. And you go up to the roof. As the misty, dewy morning begins to fill the air with moisture, it reminds you of those cold, fall, early winter mornings. Living in the city and being left to your own devices. You stand up there as you see the cresting orange and yellow light off on the horizon. A sign of the sun about to rise. This entire conversation takes place in Elvish. He says, and he asks, do you know what I remember most about my parents? Ironically, that they were hardly ever there. It's so odd. We live so long, and we don't have enough time for our own children. I made a promise a long time ago that I wouldn't do what my parents did to me. I wouldn't allow such injustices to occur on the next generation, as best I could. I'm afraid that I cannot do it alone. I must ask for your help.
What do you need me to do?
I know what it looks like when one of you gets out. Leaves the dull and dreary drudgeries and sewers and drainage pipes of the world, of the urban
trust he sent us. I'm glad you did. Do it again. And again. And again. Don't fall back into those sewers. It's not where we belong. We never have. Do it for every one of those people. Be a story that I can tell them. To prove to them that they can be greater what they are. I cannot. I know I cannot. I can only do what it is that I was put here to do. So the next time I see you, I better have heard a story about you before. And you better have a story for me to tell them.
Yes. Okay.
No pressure.
Sofka kind of smiles.
Kind of clasp your hands in both of his hands. I don't know you, but I know you.
Yeah.
Regardless of who your parents were, you represent what we need to be. So show me, show us, show them that they have a place in this world if they would only claim it. Right. Well, that's enough of that. Pulls out a flask, hands it to you. Go easy on that. Do you go easy on it?
Yeah.
Okay. You take a little sip. Immediately. Well, actually, roll Constitution saving throw.
Oh shit.
3.
Buster.
3.
Not well with my
Con save.
So 6.
6. This appears to be a special blend that he has concocted himself that tastes absolutely deplorably horrible, but has one express purpose, and that is to get you drunk before it even hits your liver.
Sounds like a Gunbuster.
Kind of, without all like the deleterious
Yeah.
intestinal problems. It's like Everclear on steroids. You both kind of sit down there and get a little drunk in the morning as the sun crests and rises over the horizon. And I think that's where we're going to end it today, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for all our listeners. I know this is a very tough episode. I will do my best to let our editors and moderators know that we need to put a couple trigger warnings in here, especially since there's a little some child, trauma in here. Thank you for staying with us. This was hard for all of us, but hopefully a story well composed, a story well done, and a story well traversed with our adventures here. I'm DM TJ. This will be the Argent Flame. Everybody stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time.
When's the next one?
Oh, right. The next one should be, I believe, 2 weeks from today, which should be the 16th of January. Hope to all see you there. We'll live stream that. And on Tuesday, the following today's Sunday, on Tuesday, the following of today, which should be the 4th of January, we should have all of these episodes probably split into 3 up and recorded for you on our channel. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for all our listeners. Stay safe out there.